I think a lot of what's damaging about inflation is not its direct economic consequences if you do some kind of economic calculation. You're right that when prices start going up faster, wages start going up faster, and it sort of balances out for many people. Interest rates adjust, other things adjust. I think the problem is a society where inflation is accelerating is a society that feels out of control. And people feel like things were supposed to be brought under control, not taken out of control. And when they see prices at the gas pump, when they see what they're paying for meat at the supermarket going up very rapidly, they wonder whether things are under control, particularly if it looks like the authorities aren't seeing those things as a problem. When people get a 5% raise and there's 5% inflation, they think they deserved every penny of the 5% raise, and it's due to their good work, and that the 5% inflation is stealing their hard-earned gains. Now, the truth that we would teach in an economics class is that if there wasn't inflation, they'd be getting a 2% raise. But we all tend to internalize the good and externalize the bad. And that's what happens with respect to inflation. And so people see it as robbing them of the gains they would otherwise have gotten.
Biden's response to this, I mean, it doesn't feel like there's anything structural at this point that the president can do to respond to this challenge as we head into Christmas, Thanksgiving, difficulties with buying presents for your kids, can't get a turkey that's right size for my family. What are you going to tell Biden he should be doing right now, since he didn't listen to you last time around?
Look, I think the most important thing is that the Fed needs to acknowledge much more explicitly that it had misjudged the situation, that overheating is the principal problem facing the American economy, that it will do what is necessary, starting as soon as is necessary, to assure the maintenance of stable prices, defined as an inflation rate that is running around 2%, that the president needs to be very clear as he refashions the Fed that he's going to be appointing people who are focused on the objective of making sure that we don't go back to the inflation of the 1960s and 1970s, that the Fed is a place for people committed to financial stability, not a place for people committed to being social justice warriors. I think he needs to signal that in the approach that he takes to the Federal Reserve System. I think they need to be careful that their Build Back Better, which I continue to strongly support, be fashioned in a way that isn't, even in the short run, substantially increasing the level of demand in the economy. And I think the president, in addition to focusing on clearing up the ports and doing that for supply chains, which is the right thing to do, absolutely the right thing to do, but is not a hugely important thing to do, needs to look at the full range of his policies. Should we buy America when buying America is much more expensive? Should we maintain every tariff when every one of those tariffs is holding up price levels and raising input costs for American producers? If OPEC should produce more oil, maybe we should too. And we need to keep that in mind as we look at fracking, as we look at natural gas. When we think about regulatory policies, don't we also need to pay attention to the costs of those policies, where they will feed into higher prices? Industrial policies are fine, but if the industrial policies are translating into higher prices, that's something we now need to be paying attention to.